It's at 6:30.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. The big reduction of oil supplies from Alaska because of the Exxon Corporation oil spill is now resulting in skyrocketing gasoline prices in California. And the raised gasoline prices, like the oil slick itself, may spread. Jerry Bowen begins our coverage.
When the Exxon Valdez struck bottom 1 week ago, prices at California gas pumps started heading for the high ground.
This week, we have raised up the gas almost 15 penny.
California depends on Alaska for 40% of its oil, and some analysts are projecting a 50-cent a gallon increase at the pumps here as early as next week. At the Valdez terminal today, only 2 tankers were loaded, a reflection of the emergency limits imposed until Exxon's stricken tanker can be removed from the shipping lanes.
Only during daylight hours am I allowing tankers in, and I'm requiring double tug escort.
Before the spill, we could have had as many as 7 or 8 movements in and out of the port in a day. Since the spill, we're basically down to right around 2.
And wholesale spot market prices are soaring, up 30 cents a gallon in just 2 days at Southern California refineries.
We see a 30-cent jump here in 2 days. Take 20 cents of that as being Valdez and panic more than anything else.
Panic reflected on the New York commodities market today, where the price for May crude oil reached a 20-month high before retreating on false rumors that the Port of Valdez had fully reopened. Analysts say East Coast consumers will likely see a 10-cent a gallon increase at the pump, but help may be on the way. Prices driven down by a very unlikely source.
There have been many countries within OPEC that have been talking in terms of increasing their production quotas to take advantage of these higher prices.
Gas prices nationwide were already heading higher because of seasonal demands and new clean air requirements in the Northeast. But in California, consumers are angry.
The thing just happened about a week ago and the prices went up immediately, so I don't think the gas is produced that quickly.
Horrible. What can we do? I mean, they're just taking advantage of us, that's all.
Coast Guard officials say the Port of Valdez could return to normal traffic as early as next week, but analysts say the impact on prices could be felt for a month. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Oil is beginning to stream out of Prince William Sound and into the Gulf of Alaska. Whales are swimming in the path of the advancing oil. There is concern for the rich sea life here, but relatively little oil is expected to reach the Gulf. For every gallon that flows out of Prince William Sound, 8 gallons will remain. The FBI is investigating possible criminal wrongdoing by both individuals and Exxon. A Justice Department official says there's a great deal to look at in this case. The Coast Guard says Captain Joseph Hazelwood could face up to a year in jail, a $5,000 fine, and loss of his license. In Valdez, there have long been worries about drinking among tanker crews. Early this month, a delegation of townspeople told Alyeska pipeline officials there could be a disaster.
That's one of those kind of things that goes on. There was never a real problem with it, I guess, so everybody was just kind of lulled by a false sense of security.
An oil-soaked otter was brought to Valdez for treatment today, only the second one. In the Bird Rescue Center, there are just 3 birds. But those small numbers do not truly reflect the scale of suffering on the isolated islands of Prince William Sound. There are so many hundreds of miles of shoreline and so few people to search that most victims of the spill have not been found and never will be.
What is the cost of a bird? What is the cost of a sea lion? What is the cost of a sea otter?
The first deaths are only the beginning of a poisonous cycle. Eagles have already started preying on oil-soaked birds.
We've got black bear out there that are going to eat the carcasses off the beach. You've got fox that are probably going to eat the carcasses.
That Exxon can never fix up all the damage from this spill is something even the company's environmental expert admits.
That is the price of civilization, I guess is the way we'd look at it.
Exactly what price civilization has demanded of this corner of Alaska won't be known for years. John Blackstone, CBS News, Valdez, Alaska.
A major setback for Oliver North in his Iran-Contra criminal trial. The judge refused today to order North's most coveted defense witness to take the stand. CBS News law correspondent Rita Braver is covering the North trial.
Former President Reagan will not be forced to return to Washington to testify at the trial of his former National Security Council operative, Oliver North. Judge Gerhard Gazelle today ruled that North has wholly failed to show that the former president's testimony is essential to assure a fair trial. The judge said that under the Constitution, he does have the power to require the appearance of a former president at a criminal trial, but he said that there was no reason to believe that in-person testimony would dispute the trial record, which presently contains no proof that North ever received any authorization from President Reagan to engage in illegal conduct. While in office, the president asserted,
"Let me say I take full responsibility for my own actions and for those of my administration. As angry as I may be about activities undertaken without my knowledge, I am still accountable for those activities."
And today's decision was a blow to the defense strategy of showing that Oliver North was merely a soldier in Ronald Reagan's army. Reagan's unwillingness to take the stand provoked this response from an old political foe.
Well, I've testified, as a matter of fact, while I was an incumbent president.
Still, some legal experts believe that if North is found guilty, withholding of presidential testimony could lead to overturning the verdict.
On appeal, they're going to make a pretty good case that they haven't had a chance to have a fair trial and a fair shot at establishing their defense.
But for now, the judge's decision has hurt North, as did his refusal today to toss out any of the counts in the indictment. The defense will begin its case on Monday. Still unknown whether North himself will testify. Rita Braver, CBS News at the federal courthouse in Washington.
And still to come on the Friday CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer on national service by young Americans, an idea whose time may have come again. And Peter Van Sant on tiny horses, robot jockeys, and, well, an idea whose time has not come.
If I didn't care more than words can say,
someday, someone will convince you to try Kellogg's Nutri-Grain. 6 healthy whole grain cereals with no sugar added or preservatives.
would all this be true if I didn't care for you?
Whole grain Nutri-Grain.
One was named Wilbur, the other Orville, 2 brothers who shared a belief. A belief that when the fundamentals of aeronautics were properly applied, man could fly. At Raytheon, we haven't forgotten their lesson. Consider the revolutionary new Starship from Beech Aircraft, a Raytheon company. Many of the fundamentals are the same as the one built by Wilbur and Orville. Raytheon, where quality starts with fundamentals.
The biggest final week. Color Tile's biggest sale of all. Save up to 55% on every ceramic tile, every Armstrong Sundial Solarium sheet vinyl, even vinyl tiles. Get the lowest prices of the year at Color Tile. Sale ends Sunday.
It hurts. Sinus pressure and headache. It really hurts. Sinutab combines the painkiller and Tylenol with the decongestant and Sudafed to give you more than either one alone. It stops the pain. Sinutab stops the pain.
Israeli government sources have confirmed to CBS News today's report in the Washington Post that Israel believes Iraq is once again developing nuclear weapons that could be used against Israel. The Iraqis are said to be using uranium left over after Israeli jets destroyed their nuclear reactor in 1981. Israel reportedly has its own nuclear arsenal, but has never officially admitted that. From Washington, Terrence Smith begins our coverage of the new bomb scare in the Middle East.
8 years after Israel bombed Iraq's only nuclear reactor, they are again warning that Baghdad is actively engaged in a crash program to build nuclear weapons and to develop a missile capable of delivering them.
They are very determined to do it, to build an unconventional capability, and they will make it. The question is just the timing.
State Department officials responded cautiously to published reports from Jerusalem about the Iraqi activity.
Prospect that Iraq may seek to acquire the nuclear capability is something that would be of grave concern to us and something we've been watching very carefully.
U.S. intelligence analysts said the Israeli reports are essentially correct but overstated. Iraq, they say, is at least 4 to 5 years away from developing a nuclear weapon capability. Nonetheless, evidence of the Iraqi activity keeps cropping up. Just last week, federal authorities seized a shipment of vacuum pumps like these bound for Iraq that could be used to process nuclear fuel. The U.S. manufacturer claimed the pumps are designed to distill vegetable oil. What's most troubling about the Iraqi potential nuclear capacity is that today, unlike 8 years ago, they are developing a missile, codenamed Condor, with a 500-mile range that could reach Israel. U.S. officials are also disturbed that Egypt and Argentina are working with Iraq. Will the Israelis attempt another preemptive strike?
We have to take into account that if we shall try to do something, the Iraqis have the capability to retaliate.
If the Israeli forces really wanted to take out whatever the facilities are, I would think they probably would have the forces to do it.
And why would Israeli sources leak the story now on the eve of a visit by Prime Minister Shamir? Perhaps to underscore that the Middle East remains as volatile and more lethal than ever. Terrence Smith, CBS News, Washington.
President Bush today said he is concerned about Iraq's possible entry into the nuclear club. He refused to confirm that Iraq has the bomb, but signaled that he'll apply pressure if the report proves true.
I strongly stand against the proliferation of nuclear weapons, and so you can just keep going and find areas that we have to be alert to the dangers, and then try to find ways to see that nuclear proliferation does not happen.
The growing nuclear issue comes at the very moment the president begins his search for Middle East peace. Mr. Bush entertains Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak on Monday and Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir next Thursday in the first high-stakes public attempt by the president to cool off a dangerous climate.
We're the only country that can be a substantial catalyst for peace there.
Mr. Bush so far has increased the pressure, especially on Israel, by continuing talks with the PLO and by asking Israel for new ideas to relax tension in the territories. Prime Minister Shamir has said he will permit local elections in the territories, but only if the PLO will call off the uprising.
We do not believe that the PLO can shoot its way into the negotiating rooms or into the negotiating corridors.
There was another Mideast challenge on the president's mind today, another intractable problem, the 9 American hostages in Lebanon.
The administration's plan is to do its level best to try through intelligence to find who is holding these hostages and where they are, and then to do what we can to release them.
There will be no grand peace plan on the table next week, only suggestions for how each side can make small conciliatory gestures. With the United States asking Israel, in effect, to consider a future with the PLO, the administration does not think a formal peace plan can work. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, the White House.
Under the heading of Lest We Forget, and to give the ongoing hostage story some perspective, of the 9 Americans still being held hostage in Lebanon, journalist Terry Anderson of the Associated Press is the longest held. As of today, he has been held for 5 years and 2 weeks. Another savings and loan is in trouble. Federal regulators today took control of the country's 10th largest S&L, Gibraltar Savings of Beverly Hills, California. They fired its chief executive. Gibraltar is not insolvent. The regulators said they seized it because Gibraltar was being run in a, quote, unsafe and unsound manner. For example, making risky loans. Real estate tycoon Donald Trump said this evening he has tentatively completed a deal to buy the Eastern Airlines shuttle for $365 million. Trump had tried to cut his original offer of the same figure because of the machinist strike. But Texas Air, which owns Eastern, countered by saying it would seek other buyers.
Thank goodness today's Friday. Oh, what a week. My boss doesn't give compliments, he gives headaches. Gave me my first one Wednesday, so I took aspirin. Got another one today. Yep, it's been an aspirin week.
If you take aspirin more than once a week, make your aspirin tri-buffered bufferin. It's 100% aspirin, plus 3 buffers that help protect against stomach upset plain aspirin can cause.
Can't wait for the weekend.
Tri-buffered bufferin, if you take aspirin more than once a week.
Are you okay, Dad?
Sure, doctor said it's heartburn.
Heartburn and high blood pressure. He wants him to cut out salt. Well, you better do it. He will. Don't worry.
If you're one of millions of heartburn sufferers and also have to cut out salt, cut it out of your antacid, too. Riopan Plus 2 is sodium-free, and it starts neutralizing stomach acid in 10 seconds.
Dessert?
Well, you're sure feeling better, Dad.
For heartburn and indigestion, Riopan Plus 2, sodium-free, and it works fast.
This year, if you really want to get money back, listen to Henry Block.
Go to Subaru.
Up to $1,500 back or 4.9 financing on a Subaru.
Before I started wearing no nonsense, I used to have more nail polish on my pantyhose than on my fingernails. Looks better here, doesn't it?
Pantyhose that last are no nonsense.
Soldiers and police are bracing for more violence expected this weekend in southern Yugoslavia. A power struggle between Albanians and Serbians has turned into street warfare, all against the backdrop of an economic crisis that threatens to tear the whole country apart. Anthony Mason is our man in Yugoslavia.
It has taken an army of police to restore calm in the southern Yugoslavian province of Kosovo. Armored personnel carriers are parked at every major intersection. Every suspicious car is searched. In cities like Urošević, the trains are moving again. But just days ago, there was blood on the tracks. The bitterness of ethnic Albanians who feel repressed by Yugoslavia's Serbian elite boiled over and turned Kosovo into a battlefield. Yugoslavia has always been a fragile union of disparate ethnic groups. For more than 30 years, the firm hand of Marshal Tito held this country together. Without him, some fear, it may be breaking apart. If this goes on, says Serbian Tomas Mihailovic, Yugoslavia will be destroyed. Kosovo is a province of Serbia, but the mosques along the skyline show that Muslim Albanians now hold a strong majority here. Yet the Christian Serbs refuse to surrender authority over what for them is still sacred ground. And the Serbian parliament this week voted to strip Kosovo of its autonomy. Proclaiming it a joyous and historic day, Serbs celebrated in the streets of Belgrade, while Albanians rioted in Kosovo. The government has clamped a curfew on the province and outlawed meetings of more than 3 people. For the moment, the police in their helmets and flak jackets have frightened the Albanians. "We have to be quiet," said a man who refused to be photographed. "If you go out and demand your rights, you'll be shot." Officially, at least 24 people have been killed, including 2 policemen. But many Albanians say the number is much higher. "I worry for my children," says Mevluda Charlai, an Albanian teacher. "I don't know when this is going to end." With Saturday marking the anniversary of the 1981 Albanian riots, in which 9 people were killed, police fear the battle may resume as early as tomorrow. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Urošević, Yugoslavia.
Japanese Prime Minister Takeshita admitted today that his political fundraising committee sold $150,000 worth of tickets to a dinner party 2 years ago to the Recruit Company. That company is now at the center of a widespread Japanese corruption scandal. Takeshita said the sale might have been, and I quote him now, slightly excessive. His opponents say he should resign. Recent polls indicate Japanese public support for the Prime Minister has fallen to less than 10%.
Richard Mulligan, grape nuts?
I need my nutrition.
Well, you'll need 4 boxes to equal the vitamin and mineral nutrition in just 1 box of Total.
You're kidding.
No kidding.
Ha ha ha. Shredded wheat.
Get serious, Richard. 12 boxes.
What do you mean all this with? A shovel?
Total, 1 bowl, 100%. That's more nutrition than any other cereal.
That's more like it. 1 box, 1 bowl, 1 spoon.
If it's whole wheat Total, it's Total nutrition.
Now at Red Lobster, one great thing deserves another and another. Introducing our great seafood trios. For a limited time, find 6 new trios starting at $7.95. More of everything you crave. Like 3 great tastes of lobster, a new trio of shrimp and crab. Something for everyone. Starting at just $7.95. Kids' dinner, $1.95. Don't miss the great seafood trios at Red Lobster. And get a ½ pound of snow crab legs for just $3.95 with any entree.
When my minor arthritis pain acts up, even little things are a big effort. But I don't take aspirin anymore. I take Advil. Advil gives me hours of relief from arthritis pain, and it's gentler to my stomach than aspirin. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
If I told you my pantyhose could go through an obstacle course like this without a snag, you'd say, no way. And I'd say, no nonsense.
Pantyhose that last are no nonsense.
It has been 16 years since the draft required young Americans to serve the country. Now momentum is growing once again to set up a national program of voluntary youth service to America. CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer reports that one controversial proposal would link such service to college loans and grants.
I pledge that I will serve the people of the city of New York.
New York City youngsters, more than 100 of them. They're being inducted into the City Volunteer Corps, joining a crusade to help the poor, the homeless, the mentally and physically disabled. A crusade to do good.
Very good. All right, John.
We have heard a lot about the selfishness of young people in recent years, but there are thousands of young people all over the country who belong to state and local groups that perform good works, and their ranks are growing.
It's just really opened me up into seeing the world around me, the homeless people, people who have AIDS, kids in welfare hotels.
So much so that the idea of doing this kind of thing on a national level is beginning to catch on among politicians.
That sense of civic obligation and civic duty is something we very much need to restore in the country.
National service. It's an old idea. In the midst of the Depression, Franklin Roosevelt created the Civilian Conservation Corps, which put nearly 3 million Americans to work building roads and planting trees. John Kennedy's Peace Corps, which placed some 120,000 youngsters in more than 90 countries, and its domestic equivalent, VISTA, were both created in the 1960s, a time of idealism and participation.
There's been a long period of drought. I think if you go to college campuses today and to high schools and you talk with young people where there are service programs, you'll find it's surging back very strongly.
The Bush administration favors some as yet undefined form of national service. That's part of what the president means when he talks about 1,000 points of light. And so do the Democrats. But of all the plans being discussed, the biggest, boldest, and most controversial is the one sponsored by Oklahoma Congressman Dave McCurdy and Georgia Senator Sam Nunn.
Their bill would create a citizens corps of 200,000 volunteers between the ages of 18 and 26. Corps members could volunteer for 1 or 2 years on a community project and earn a voucher worth $10,000 a year. That could be used to pay for college or job training or a down payment on a house. Or they could serve 2 years in the military and earn a voucher worth $24,000. Opposition is crystallized because under the bill, college grants and loans would all but disappear for those who don't volunteer.
If you want a loan or you want a grant to go to college, then you've got to put in 1 or 2 years of public service work. Well, I think that's mean-spirited.
Does Mr. Anderson believe that the taxpayers should just simply give away money and not expect anything in return?
Keep turning it till it gets nice and tight.
Whether it is Nunn's version that survives or some less controversial plan, the general feeling in Washington is that some kind of national service will be adopted within the next few years. The old idea of national service, it seems, is an idea whose time has come again. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Washington.
Paris threw a 100th birthday party today for its leading landmark, the Eiffel Tower. Actors in costume replayed events of opening day 1889 at the Paris World's Fair. Back then, the tower was the tallest structure in the world, but the so-called elite of Paris wanted it torn down. Leading intellectuals signed a petition calling it a disgrace, a useless pile of rivets. But the tower outlasted them, and it now attracts 4.5 million admirers a year.
Financial serenity. To soar beyond the reach of worry. The Travelers gives 1 out of every 6 Americans this financial peace of mind. With secure new pathways toward growth and the overriding promise of insurance protection. The Travelers, you're better off under the umbrella.
Il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose.
Some love the night, but he preferred the dawn. For how could sleepers know the taste of hot croissant and coffee? The richest coffee I'd ever tasted.
Discover the pleasure of rich French roast, new from Maxwell House.
Rich French roast coffee. We can't give you France, but we'll give you the flavor.
They came across country by wagon and settled in Amana, Iowa. Whatever they needed, they made by hand. Made it the best it could be. That same fundamental is still practiced today in Amana, Iowa, the home of Amana Appliances, a Raytheon company. Whatever you make it the best it can be. Raytheon, where quality starts with fundamentals.
Memphis businessman Charles McVane lost another round today with the Tennessee State Racing Commission. For the second time, it said nay to the betting license he needs to make a go of his one-of-a-kind indoor racetrack. Correspondent Peter Van Sant has the story of the man who put high tech on a low horse.
A demonstration of parimutuel horse racing in Memphis, Tennessee. Behind the reins of these dashing steeds are truly men of steel, or perhaps aluminum. They are robo-jocks, remote-controlled robots riding atop miniature horses called hackney ponies, which promoters hope will eventually gallop their way into the gambling world.
We've created the possibility of downtown year-round horse racing, turn 8 of these things loose in front of 10,000 people indoors. You've got what people pay to see. Good, clean excitement.
McVane developed the robot jockey because his ponies are too small to support human jockeys. The robots are controlled by a special transmitter. Pulling or pushing on this joystick activates the robot's arms, which have an iron grip on the pony's reins. During a race, trainers roam the track's infield, guiding and talking to the horses.
You've got to get so you can do it without looking at your box. You have to watch your horse. Robotic jockey can do whatever you want him to do. No back talk. He's at work every day. He's got nerves of steel.
Real jockeys say they're not threatened by the metal midgets.
I guess the people that I used to bet on humans are not going to be too crazy about betting on machines.
Good start, good start.
McVane believes his indoor horse racing can become a gold mine, but the Tennessee State Racing Commission isn't as enthusiastic. McVane has been turned down for a gambling license amid concern that the sport is an easy target for corruption.
I was not convinced that that type of racing had been established to be foolproof or tamper-proof.
One worry is that gamblers would find a way to fix a race by interfering with control transmissions. McVane says fancy technology will prevent tampering.
Spread spectrum, military quality, anti-jam technology.
Aside from the Racing Commission, McVane's biggest hurdle may be convincing a skeptical public that his robotic pony racing is for real.
I think it's kind of appalling.
I think it's the slap in the face to the intelligence of this town.
McVane is convinced his miniature horse racing is getting shortchanged by the Racing Commission, and he's considering legal action. In the meantime, McVane continues running his short horses on a short track, hoping his sport will one day be allowed to leave the starting gate. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, Memphis.
And that's the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather. Over the weekend and Monday, I'll be in Havana, Cuba, covering the meetings between Mikhail Gorbachev and Fidel Castro. See you from Havana. Good night.
This is CBS.